St. Joe's tomorrow night. How do we match up with them, and what can we expect from the
they've
Hawks?
been decimated with injuries. Feel bad anytime you've got great players in the league that that aren't able to finish the year. Obviously, Newkirk, and now with Fresh Kimball going out. I mean, it's just been a tough year for them, and they have they had another kid, Olivier, go out earlier in the year. So, but they play extremely hard. They've got a really good freshman, Charlie Brown. He's shooting about 9 threes a game. He's a good shooter. Nick Robinson, another kid from Chicago, has stepped up and played nicely for him. Clover, a sophomore, is getting some minutes, and Dimry, he's been a little banged up too at times. He missed some time earlier in the year and had an illness, missed their game at Dayton, but he's a really good player for him. So those 4 guards, they'll play those 4 guards most of the time, but they're good players, and certainly we're going to need to guard. They're big, they're physical, they're taller than us at just about every position, and they're physical group. So we're going to need to do a good job keeping them off the offensive glass. They're averaging 12 offensive rebounds a game over their past 5 games. So we've got to do a good job of not giving them second shots and guarding that 3-point line. It's particularly Charlie Brown. He's going to be a really good. He is a really good player in the league, and he's going to be a great player in the league moving forward.
Coach, they're banged up. They're a little bit depleted. Your only 2 losses in conference were against teams from the bottom half of the standings.
Thanks for reminding me.
So to that end, what do you tell your guys about
we're in the home stretch now. We're 2/3 of the way through the conference season. You got 6 games left. It's an absolute sprint to this finish. So, we need to play well. And these guys. Coach Martelli does just a phenomenal job. They play extremely hard, and they almost won at Dayton. They were tied at half and ended up losing 77-70, and that was without Dimry. Dimry was sick that game. Same type situation, Tuesday night game. Dayton had the Friday game at Rhode Island. It was the same type deal. So you can't let your foot off. Every conference team is really good, and they're gonna be ready to go. And we need to play well. We need to get off to a good start. We got off to a bad start against Davidson on Saturday. I thought we played pretty well for 32 minutes, but those first 8 to 10 minutes were poor.
Is this the toughest point of the season? The stretch where the conference tournament is still a little too far away, but you've been playing for so long?
It's fun. It's fun. It's good. We're 10-2, and you got a chance to position yourself for big things in March, and so you got to forge ahead. You got to be enthusiastic. You got to be excited. Got to be ready to go, and just move forward. It should be a fun month.
Coach, how's Jaquan Lewis feeling? He said before the game is really feeling a little hobbled in the shoot around, but puts up 27, a career high.
Yeah, I wish he felt like that every game. No, he's been getting treatment, and we've been trying to manage our guys' bodies. A lot of it's mental preparation, mental focus right now, and we suspect he'll be ready to go tomorrow.
You mentioned Jaquan, that you opened things up a little bit for him, the game plan. What changes does that require for feeding the post or send those pick and rolls?
No, you still want to feed the post because you play inside out. You feed the post, they command attention down there, and you can get him even cleaner looks with what you're doing. So I think just him being able to play a little bit more in transition, getting the ball up the court a little bit quicker in transition, where he can play in space and use his quickness is a big point of emphasis for us.
The 2 wild games you had before Davidson, I mean, how mentally taxing are games like that versus a game like Davidson where you win by double digits?
Yeah, but we didn't pull away from Davidson until the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game. Every game's mentally taxing. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but it's hard to win. I think people really underestimate how hard it is to win, and sometimes winning's very difficult, like you see at the end of those games. But even beating somebody, you win a conference game by anything over 2 or 3 possessions, you've done an unbelievable job. Every game usually comes down to 3 possessions or less. So if you win a conference game by double digits, it's extremely hard to do, road, home, anywhere. So we just go back to preparing. This is a short preparation for us. We don't have our normal prep time, so this will be hopefully good preparation for us as we have shorter prep times and tournament play moving forward. So we need to come out ready to go tomorrow night.
Back to the GW game, the end of that, is there a situation where you would ever give the officials, I know football teams do this, when they go to the officials and say, hey, we've got an overstacked line, which is legal, but just look for it because you don't see it all the time. Is there ever a situation where you guys would go to an official either during a game or before and say, hey, we're planning on doing this?
I usually will let him know when I'm like, hey, if he makes this free throw, I'm going to call timeout. We're going to foul here. We're trying to foul. Or, hey, we're going to try to get one trap and then foul. If we really foul in the trap, call it. But we're not trying to foul in the trap. That sort of situation, this is just my opinion. I didn't tell the official what we were doing because I think if you do that, then he makes his mind up on whether or not he's going to make that call or not before it even happens. I think you've got a much better chance of that call happening if it's a heat of the moment, bang, bang, got to make a split-second decision. If you give him 30 seconds to think through everything, he's going to think through repercussions and if I call this and if I don't. So that situation, I don't because I think it doesn't help you as much. I'd rather make a judgment call, quick judgment call. But some of those other situations, and the good officials typically ask you, hey, you're up 3. Are you going to foul or not here? Or if he makes this free throw and you're up 3, you're going to foul. Like the really good officials ask you that stuff a lot of the time before you even bring it up to them. Most of those guys have really good feel for the game. If you're at the foul line, hey, if you make this second one, you're going to send a sub in, you're going to call timeout. Like most of those guys have really, really good feel for what's going on. But in that situation, no, I didn't say anything.
Justin Tillman, since conference play, has pretty much been a consistent double-double.
He's averaging a double-double now, I think, in league.
What's been like the catalyst, since
he's getting confident. He's figured out how to lift up and just score over top of people, and then he's when you got a motor like his and you run that motor at a high rate most of the time on game night, that ball finds you with those offensive rebounds. So he's been tremendous for us, and he's done a great job. He's a beneficiary some of Mo. Teams really worry about him and having to block him out, and that leaves Tillman kind of unchecked on that weak side, and he can get in there and make things happen from that backside. So he's playing at a really high level. He's preparing really well, and that's helped him and helped our team.
Coach, you mentioned the home stretch. How do you kind of balance the pressure and the mentality needed to stay level-headed each game, considering the final 4 weeks are the 3 teams that you have to beat to win the regular season?
Well, we don't worry. I mean, we worry about St. Joe's right now. I mean, the final weeks don't mean anything if we don't beat St. Joe's. So, we focus on that, and I don't think there's much pressure if you're prepared. And we don't really talk about that stuff. I mean, what's the alternative? Be in the middle or bottom of the league where the games don't really matter. So, I think it's all a positive from the way I look at it. And I think we have a lot of great opportunities ahead of us here over the next month to month and a half. I think there's a ton of opportunities. It's on us to take advantage of those and grasp those and make it happen.
Coach, do you think VCU has done enough to convert Dennis Haskins into a Rams fan? He was psyched for you guys on Twitter after you beat GW.
He's a great guy. He's a good friend. I've known him for 4 or 5 years. He's a great guy. He came to our games last year in the Garden when we played Wisconsin and Duke, and he's an awesome guy. He follows. We text just about after every game, before or after every game, and he follows us when he's not following the mocks. So he's a great guy.
Is he as wise as he was on our favorite show?
He's a wise guy. He's a wise guy. No, he's a tremendous person, good heart, cares about people, and happy to call him a friend.